Well, good morning everyone, and a huge apologies for the technical difficulties that we've just experienced. But you didn't miss anything, and look at what a beautiful view we've come across here. The sun setting in the background, this couldn't get much better. Very big elephant cow feeding just a few meters away from us. And it's so good to have all this. It's just going to pan across. This morning, everyone. I'm Scott. Welcome on board. We'll take a closer look at these young elephant calves. They're starting off their day with a little dust bath. And look at how cute that is. Oh, what's the one on the back? Our walks past. Isn't this awesome? They look like they could be twins, those two, but they are probably just friends. It's very uncommon for elephants to have twins, even though these two look like they could be. Seems that we're looking at the back of the herd and they led us to the rest of them. The big cow is still on our right, so take a look at her. And again, this is just perfect with the sun rising in the background below a big apple leaf tree. It's crisp stands, about 15 degrees Celsius, 58 degrees Fahrenheit. And it appears like there was possibly a little bit of precipitation last night. So very small amounts, either that or a very misty evening, which has left a lot of condensation on the ground. So there'll be a little bit of moisture lining the plants that these animals are feeding. It may be
Welcome back, guys. Sorry about the gremlins, but isn't this awesome? We found the Nkahuma Pride and they're on the move. So they did a big loop last night. And oh, there's a nice stretch on the termite mound. So they did a big loop last night and they chased those buffalo in Buffelshoek, and now they've come back onto Djuma. So we are with them. They are hungry and on the hunt. We just saw some quite interesting behavior. They found a guarri bush that the Styx Pride has scent marked before, and they smelt that and they changed direction, and they are now heading south. They are going through some quite difficult country, but we will stick with them, don't you worry. For those of you who've just signed in, we are live. We're following a lion tribe moving through the African bush live. We are also interactive, so you can ask us questions about what we're seeing on safari. And hopefully, on this beautiful misty morning, we're going to get some incredible action. So I said I had a feeling something fantastic was going to happen today. And look at this beautiful morning light. The whole Nkahuma Pride coming through here. And sorry if I'm not looking at you guys. I've got to concentrate so we don't get stuck or lose the lions. As I said, it's quite a difficult area we're working in, but hopefully they're going to come out onto Battalier Road shortly. Bouncy, bouncy. Oh, yeah, just check. We've still got a cameraman. So we're just going to move forward a bit there. You can see them going through the bush. Fortunately, they are heading towards a road. Oh, there's some fresh buffalo dung on the road here. There have been groups of buffalo bulls that I have seen sleeping in this area up on the crest, away from the cool of the drainage line. There you go. It looks like she's smelling another scent mark. It could be, I have seen the Styx Pride in this area. There we go. The rest of the pride are coming off this big elephant path in front of us. And I'm hoping that they're going to turn down the road. Because if they go into this other block it is going to be quite difficult to stick with them. Oh. As they move. Here come the rest of the pride. So they've moved about 700 or 800 meters since we first found them. So last night on the sunset safari, Scott was with them and they were completely flat cats. And then all of a sudden they heard some buffalo to the north of where they were lying. They all got up and they started moving in that direction. And they did, I've heard, try catch a buffalo last night, but they failed. And they've done a big loop from the northern property back down onto Djuma. So very happy and exciting for us. That they are back where we can follow them. I do love spending time with this pride. And we've spent so much time with this pride and watched them have so many unsuccessful hunts. I think we're about to do a successful one. She's just checking the other pride members that are still coming. Almost as always, Junior is leading up the rear with with both the sub-adults. Here comes Junior and a sub-adult. So guys, just to remind you, apart from being able to watch this lion pride live on the move on Djuma Private Game Reserve with us, we are interactive, so you can send us questions about what we're seeing, and you can do that by emailing us on the email address questions@wildearth.tv, or you can use the hashtag SafariLive if you're on Twitter. we're going to stick with these lions now while they're on the move. Hopefully they do find something that causes great excitement and great movement. As you can see, lions quite often will like to walk for a little bit and then flop down in the road. I'm going to try and take a maybe not. This is very thick bush that they're in at the moment, and I was going to try and get a shortcut to go around them. But I think we're going to have to stay behind them for now till I can find an open patch of bush that I can catch up with the leading females. So it looks like they are showing interest in something. I've just changed direction off the road. Or maybe not. Oh, there's some nice flopping going on ahead of us. They're just flopping on top of each other. Just going to pop around the corner quickly to get ahead of them. Isn't this unbelievably beautiful in this exquisite morning light? The Nkahuma Pride on the move. Hope you guys are getting some great screenshots of this. And remember to put your screenshots on Twitter and on Facebook. Or even on Instagram. And if you do put them on Instagram, just make sure you add the @WildEarthOfficial is our Instagram account. They're definitely smelling something. I'm hoping it's some buffalo or giraffe. Hi, Renee. Nice to have you on the back of the vehicle again. Renee would like to know, can a sub-adult hunt for itself if it's separated from the pride? It can, Renee. It just depends on what. Nothing particularly big, but the best way for a lion to learn how to hunt is to get hungry enough, and then they will sort of utilize all those instinctual skills to try catch something. So we're going to try keep up with them now. I'm just going to try find a way that we can get through this really thick bush that they're heading into. I think I see a gap.
Welcome back, everyone, and great to hear that the Nkahuma Pride have been on the move and up and about for you to get a better idea of actually how they move and how big they are and what they look like. We so often see them sleeping. Anyway, as you can see behind us, we are with this herd of elephant that some of you may see briefly. I have to apologize about the technical issues, but we made sure that we didn't leave these ellies until you got another closer look at them. And even though the view at the moment is not great, The rest of the herd is all behind the individuals you can see, and they are feeding towards us. So what we've done is position the vehicle in front of where they've been moving, allowing them to decide how close they would like to come to us, rather than us forcing our way close to them. Earlier on, I had a young bull whose trunk came out and almost touched the bull bar on the front of the car, sniffing us. And that's because we allowed them to make the decision, not the other way around. This car detected, oh, so now you can see how she's raised her head. Good body language to see. If you're on foot and you see an elephant doing this, it means it's detected you. And what the elephant has detected, I've just noticed, is a dazzle of zebra. Well, their eyesight isn't the best, and that's why she got a little bit confused. And now Jeandre is going to pan across and show you exactly what she was looking at. And isn't this wonderful? Not only the elephant here, but also the dazzle of zebra. And it looks like they too are slowly feeding towards us, but are still a bit of a way off. Now, we can clearly see from here that they are zebra. They're probably 50 meters away, but the elephant wasn't exactly sure. So that gives you an idea of how good an elephant's eyesight is. And this is awesome. Two iconic animals of Africa live on safari with you. One of which is this beautiful big elephant cow who's walking straight up towards us. And I can also see the rest of the herd coming closer into our scene. And as this female walks across, she'll probably show you the rest of the herd. This is awesome. Like I said, if we position ourselves correctly, they could come right up to us, and she's just a few meters in front of us. This is great. Hello, big lady. How are you this morning? It sometimes can be useful to talk in a calm voice when elephants do get close to the vehicle, as it may have a calming effect on them. And look at how beautiful this is. They've all started to stream past us, all different shapes and sizes. And is this youngster going to come and give us some attitude? It looks like he is. They often chew on their trunk, as they don't know what else to do with it when they're trying to display their size and strength to us, these young eddies. Absolutely beautiful. And I'm sure you'll be able to hear them and their big feet padding through this very dry winter vegetation. But considering how large they are and how many of them there are, it's actually surprisingly silent. Fork-tailed drongos in their masses following this herd of elephants. I've seen about 6 or 7. And these little black birds that you see following along will be capitalizing on the elephants' flushing capabilities, and the elephants will be flushing little insects as they move through the vegetation, providing for easy prey for the drongos to hawk down. Okay, well, let's reposition. And we've got a question through from Gilly in Wisconsin. I hope you're well, and isn't this just an absolutely wonderful sighting? Gilly's interested to know, why don't we ever see very big elephant bulls out here on Djuma? It's a good question, and one that I also ask myself. Seldomly in all my years in the Sabi Sands have I seen very many big elephant bulls, yet I have seen fairly decent numbers of the breeding herds of elephants, within which they will find females to mate with and would possibly be attracted into this area to mate with the females that we see here. But it could be that they have got enough females moving through the other parts of the Greater Kruger National Park. Having said that though, there were 5 big bulls that we did see on our way into work, probably only a kilometer away from the border of the Sabi Sands. So there were 5 monster bulls that were close and could possibly come onto Djuma in the next couple of days. But it's an answer that I do not know the question, so I'll be interested to know what Brent has to say about this. And if he knows why we don't get to see very many big bulls around. I sadly have yet to crack that one for you, Gilly. Gilly also mentioned that it's interesting how there's so many buffalo bulls, and it's kind of the opposite. Not many females or breeding herds of females that we see, and that's exactly true. But I guess they are, even though they're both herbivores, they both feed on very, very different prey. Okay, we'll see you later.
Sorry guys, come back. They've just sort of seen some buffalo in this really thick bush, and they are running after the buffalo now. I'm trying my best to keep up with them, but it is an incredibly difficult area. Watch the aerial. We good? So hold on guys, sorry, I'll be with you in a second. This is really exciting. Watch out. Whoa. That's Dawn's. Sorry, just found my one, Craig. So I just heard these buffalo, and the lions all took off. I've got one young sub-adult here now. It looks like they might have missed, but I can hear all the oxpeckers that have come off the buffalo. But they suddenly just ran at high speed. There's another adult. I'll be with you guys in a sec. I just need to... the game drive guys are trying to get in here. You can hear the oxpeckers, see them flying off. Craig, come back. Sorry, Craig, they just chased some dogger boys. They did miss. We're in the block to the south of Battalier Road. Best access is probably still off Battalier. Copy, make your way. So guys, what happened there is we were sitting, we could see one lioness who was very close to us. We could see the others in front were interested in something, but we didn't know what it was. And then all of a sudden there's just pandemonium broke loose. There's lions running every direction. You heard the buffalo, there's that hooves pounding through the bush. Oxpeckers going in every direction. I don't think those buffalo would have run too far, otherwise we'd still hear them crashing. So I think the lions might be pushing them into a more favorable area. So I can only see 3 at the moment. There's this one off the front of us here, and then some more on the termite mound. I'm just going to move around because it looks like those still might be able to see what's going on. Getting there is a different story. seems our Nkahuma buffalo curse continues. Good morning, Ashley Foster, who's contacted us via the Twitter sphere. Welcome on this a very exciting sunrise safari so far, Ashley. Ashley would like to know, how long can the lions go without food? Ideally, Ashley, they will not want to go more than 2 or 3 days without food, but they can go for over a week as long as they've got water. They're still listening intently. So I'm just going to take my earpiece out for a second. I'm going to try to see if I can hear the buffalo as well. So I'm quite sure the lions can. Okay, I can hear more or less. They don't sound like they're too far off. They sound like they're probably only 100 meters so far off in that direction that lioness is looking there. So, what an exciting morning so far. And just from their general behavior, it looks like they're probably going to try again. So, fingers crossed. And it looks like they just pushed the buffalo. They were in this really, really thick bush. You can just see those rippling muscles on that female. Just this incredible amount of latent energy. So it's very difficult for me to tell whether it was a breeding herd, like we saw a few mornings ago on the Sunrise Safari, or a herd of Duggar boys. I'm quite convinced I could just see sort of black mass disappearing through the bush. But I'm quite sure, just from the area we're in, I did mention a little bit earlier, it's quite often that those old buffalo bulls like to sleep up on the crest in this area, and I've seen them in this area a couple of times in the early morning. So I think it was a big group of buffalo bulls that they were chasing. Possibly trying to push them a little bit, see if there was any weaknesses, because some of those old boys obviously are carrying a few injuries or just getting really old, so they might just try and push to see if there is some weakness before they attempt again. Okay, we're going to move again to where the rest of them are, or the ones I can see at least. So some of the lionesses are starting to move again. This one's still lying down next to us here. There's 3 up on top of the termite mound. Oh, isn't that a beautiful shot? That female up on top of the termite mound, when she turns her head, just catches that morning light. The ears are still up. There's still quite a lot of focus. Here we go. So I can see some lions moving through the bushes ahead of us. Good morning, Edward, who's also on Twitter this morning. Edward would like to know, do unrelated females ever form prides or coalitions? Edward, in my experience, I've never heard of that, but it isn't impossible. But I've never heard of that. It's generally the unrelated males that will form coalitions. Generally, the female prides are all made up of related females. As far as I know, in this pride, there's about 3 different ages. If we look at the older lionesses, there's some of about 10, some of about 7 or 8, and some of about, I think, 5 at the end. But I'm not 100% sure. Maybe you guys who've been following this pride a lot longer than me can let me know the age of the 5 adult lionesses in this pride. Just stand by, guys. I just need to get hold of the guys on the Game Drive channel. I think I can hear someone coming in. Oh, it looks like they've moved up there. We're going to try and move around. There is a possibility they might go flat cat after that bout of energy that they expelled. They did cover quite a bit of ground, probably in that very short time, 200 meters or so. They weren't running at full speed, but they were jogging behind that buffalo herd, probably trying to look for a weakness or see if any buffalo managed to make the wrong decision and isolate itself. Fortunately for me now, they're in a slightly more open area. It was quite tough following them a bit earlier. We've got some of the pride here. And obviously, quite often when they split up in a hunt like that, it can take them a little while to regroup completely. Standing by, Aubrey. Copy, Orbs. I will pass that message on. Sorry, guys. I just have to help Aubrey quickly. So I have to use our other radio. I'm just going to pass on the message to our final control. Aubrey has broken down on a rhino cut line. Could you get someone from Juma Lodge to call him on his private channel, please? He's stranded. And so Aubrey is on Rhino Cutline in Torchwood. Okay, Orbs, I also have passed on the message to someone that side to let your camp know. Sorry about that, guys, but like, if we were also stuck or broken down, we would also need we all try and help each other. So we always try and help each other, because it could be the next time that I'm stuck or broken down and I might need Aubrey's help. So sorry about that, but now back to the lions. How many do we have here at the moment? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can see Junior lying in the background. And I think the 8th one is lying around to the back. So we're going to cross across to Scotty quickly. He's got something really beautiful to show you. We're not going to leave these lines. Hopefully they get mobile again, but we'll be back with you a little later.
Welcome back, everyone. And this elephant car was passing just probably 2 meters past our vehicle. And great to hear that you got some excitement with Brent and the Inkahuma Pride chasing buffalo. We haven't left this breeding herd. We've been lucky. They've been moving through thick bush, but then popping out into these small open clearings, and the timing's just been wonderful this morning. There's still quite a few members coming past us, so let's take a look as they do pass. I think this might be the same youngster that sniffed the bull bar earlier. Let's see if it does it again. You can see how it's lifting up its trunk, processing the smells coming from us. And it'll be very interesting to know what they think of our smells, wouldn't it? Well, this is just too good to be true. Perfect morning sunlight in the background. And here comes another one. Hello, boy. Sorry, girl. Young girl. Remay on Twitter would like to know if one of these Ellies had twins. It's unlikely, but certainly possible, I think. But I just mentioned that they did look like twins. They're probably two youngsters of a very similar age that have become good friends with one another. And I've never actually seen a confirmed sighting of elephant twins. Like I said, it is possible, but unlikely and not something that I've ever seen before. Let's try and loop around one last time. Well, not one last time, but another time. And they're about to cross over from Djuma into Arathusa. Thankfully, the boundaries out here are merely roads, and the animals have freedom to move wherever they like. But the humans are a little bit restricted, which is important, because that way it keeps vehicle pressure in any given area of the Sabi Sands to a minimum, and that way we don't overcrowd the animals. I was hoping as these elephants moved through this bush that they were potentially going to flush young Sindila, a male leopard. His tracks have been on this road coming towards us, and this is where he was left yesterday, so I think he may have just moved around a little bit, and we'll certainly keep a close eye out for him. I'm looking for any of his tracks now, but can't see them, but they were heading in the opposite direction to us. The elephants, you can see, are just crossing over the road here, again into thick bush, but I'm going to loop around. They may pop into a small clearing again where we saw Sindile yesterday. And that way, if we position ourselves in front of them, we'll hopefully get them to stream past us again. And while I see if we can get another view of them, we're going to send you back to Brent with the lions, and we will let you know if we do get lucky with another great visual of them coming past us. We'll see you later.
Welcome back, everyone. It looks like the lions are on the move again, slowly getting mobile. After a flop. Got you by the scruff. Oh, there's just such magnificent animals. Standing by orbs. Copy, Abel, you can make your way. There's only 2 stations here. They are getting mobile west again, back towards Battalier Road. So guys, exciting times ahead, hopefully. And of course, the young junior bringing up the rear, hasn't even stood up yet, just watching the ladies disappear, hoping they do the hard work for him. No, he's not moving yet. He's going to have a little groom first. There we go. Junior's on the move, so we'll do the same so we don't get left behind. Good morning, George in Florida. George would like to know, is Junior too big for the females to chase away from the pride? They wouldn't. He would generally try to hang around with them as much as possible, but he is physically stronger than them already. But the males would be the ones that end up chasing him off. Watch out. Morning, Sharon from Pittsburgh. I wonder if you're a Penguins fan. Sharon says she knows that lions have scent glands around their behinds, but she's wondering, do they have around their face like her house cat does? They probably do have preorbital glands. I'm not actually 100% sure on that. They do have quite interesting glands on their feet, however. That also helps with scent marking. But they're still looking towards where I last heard those buffalo that they chased. So maybe they're still on the hunt. They are heading towards a particularly tricky area. Those who've been watching for a while, we had Konuma in the drainage line here with a bushbuck and a timbuti tree for quite a while, and it is quite a particularly difficult area to get in and out of. But fortunately, I know some shortcuts into that drainage. Morning, Gloria from Arkansas. Gloria would like to know, is the Nkahuma Pride a buffalo specialist pride? Gloria, they do seem to hunt buffalo quite often. When the big herds and buffalo bulls are around, they will attempt to hunt them. But like all animals, they are opportunists, so they will take an opportunity at most things, whether it be a kudu or a giraffe or impala even, or warthog. So whatever comes across first, I think they would hunt, but they do definitely have a preference for buffalo. So everyone's wondering and egging Junior on. Junior is being quite lazy. I'm going to see if Brian can possibly, I don't know, it might be quite difficult, but he's literally followed us, and as soon as we've stopped, he has stopped just behind us. He can still see the rest of the pride, but he decided that was enough walking for now, and he's lying just behind our vehicle. You can just see him there. He didn't make it all the way to the rest of the pride. A little bit lazier than the rest. So you can see how all their ears are up and heads up, and they are looking in that direction, and that is the direction that group of buffalo bulls ran. It'll be interesting to see if they're going to hunt now again this morning, or they might wait till this evening again. And they are hungry, but they're not by no means starving. So you can see she's quite intently focused. It might not actually be the buffalo, it might be something else that she spotted or heard in the drainage line ahead of us. But you can see, looking down into the depths of that drainage line, and there's definitely, the other lions are definitely reading her body language, because they are all quite alert still. And you can see ears are up, all facing that direction. This female in the sort of just to the left of center, she's a little bit left. She seems more alert than the others though, and the one in front of her, those two seem the most alert out of these. You can see how the neck is extended, listening very carefully. Serious focus. You can see she's starting to get moving. She's moved a few steps further into the drainage line. So while we wait to see what unfolds here with the Kahuma Pride, we're going to cross to Scott, who's got something dazzling, and we'll be back a little bit later.
Welcome back, everyone, and as Brent said, you are about to witness a dazzle of zebra. Not only zebra, but also kudu. And isn't this just an action-packed morning? This is the same herd of zebra that we saw earlier, and it appears that they're almost following the elephants. I guess it's quite a clever move, because if the elephants have moved through an area before them, they could have chased off any potential predators. Sadly, they are moving off into some thick vegetation, but we may be able to get one more visual of them before they disappear into some thick bush. Keep an eye on that kudu there, Jean-Ray. There's a male that's been harassing her, and she's obviously coming into season, but not quite ready. And And there's a beautiful big male that's chasing her around in the hope that he's going to get lucky. Let's see if he doesn't pop into screen shortly. It appears like she may have thrown him off her trail. There's no sign of him following yet. But it is that time of the year for a lot of the herbivores. And just the other day we saw a nyala mating. Sadly, it wasn't while we were live with you guys. We were on our way back to the Manyaleti. But love is in the air for the herbivores. And it makes sense because they like to time their birthing with the summer rains so that the females have got abundance of food, and that way they can make sure they can produce enough milk for their young, and that their young can also feed on vegetation that is plentiful. Let's try and reposition.
Very high alert. Unfortunately, we can't move right now, but they are definitely stalking something in this drainage line. I'm not sure what it is yet. I'm just keeping very quiet and trying to listen at the moment. Because if they do charge after something and grab something, we'll watch the rest of these lines take off, and we want to be as close as possible behind them. Unfortunately, to see a whole hunt in this very thick bush, it can be near impossible. And obviously we don't want to disturb what's happening. So we will stay here with the lines we can see and try to listen to what's about to happen. So with lion hunting, it depends on what they're hunting and whatnot. So when they generally come across like a herd of buffalo or duggar boys, they'll jog at them, try to push them to see if there's any weaknesses and stuff. Just from the way they're hunting now, it's possibly, unless it's a single duggar boy. So they've moved off in a pincer movement. One female's gone directly forward. The other has gone off to the east of us, and now I can hear a squirrel off as well. So it's obviously spotted her as she's moving. So she's gone. They've gone in a sort of pincer movement. Now you can see that even this young one is starting to sort of take shape. So one has gone off here. One has gone straight through there, and the other has run really wide to where we just heard that Franklin alarm call. And the squirrels are alarming now, so they've been spotted. That doesn't mean whatever the lions are stalking has spotted them yet. So we just... You can hear all the alarm calls around us. But we haven't heard any alarm calls of a sort of Inyala or kudu or buffalo storming away. So even though the birds and the squirrels might have seen the lions, whatever they're stalking hasn't yet. And a lot of that we can tell by the behavior of the other lions in front of us that are still very, very alert. So we just need to listen very carefully now to what's going on. I think I can see something walking. Just give me a second, let me grab my binoculars. I thought I saw what looked like it could be an Inyala through the thick bush on the other side of this drainage line. It is very, very thick. You can see there's a bit more alert now. You can hear the squirrels everywhere. So we're watching very, very carefully these ones in front of us. We've got a question from Diana in England. Diana would like to know whether lions check the wind direction. Unfortunately, they don't, Diana. They will just generally hunt in the direction that they're going. Quite often it works in their favor because if they're trailing a big herd of buffalo or whatnot, quite often they'll be on smell, so they will be trailing into the wind, which is obviously beneficial, but they don't consciously check the wind direction. The wind's picking up, which could also work in the lion's favor. It makes it a little bit more difficult for the animals to hear what's going on and to smell. So it is quite a good thing for the lions. We have a question from Dennis in Spain. Dennis would like to know whether lion hunting, do they always fulfill the same roles, and when they're hunting big animals like buffalo, giraffe, or hippo? No, Dennis, it just happens to be the ones that are in that spot. And with quite a lot of big animals, they'll try to push them first and chase them and panic them before they get on them. Sorry, guys, I need to concentrate quite heavily on what's going on at the moment. I'm almost like these lionesses in front of us, peering into the bush in front of us. So you can almost imagine the lions moving very, very, very stealthily, even though the squirrels can see them, and you can, I don't know if you can hear that. If we have a look at this bush in front here where the lions are staring and where the other lions have disappeared into, the reason I haven't moved is you can see it's very thick, and it'll be very difficult for me to maneuver without affecting the hunt. So that's why we're standing back where we are at the moment. Heard something off to the left. All heads just turned. I wonder what they heard. Oh, just watch that head duck. There's something. I think something's about to happen. Very good yourself. There's a duiker running, but quite far. I'm not sure that's possibly what they were stalking. I think it might have just been disturbed. There was just a little grey duiker that sprinted past. Let's just watch, see what they do next. I don't think 3 lionesses would have split into that sort of pincer formation after a grey duiker. And I'm pretty sure I saw some Inyala in this drainage line ahead. So if that duiker had run 20 meters closer to us, they would have run straight into these lying here. So with a lot of things following the cats hunting, patience is definitely your most important tool, as well as obviously being able to read behavior. Go off to the lioness on the left there, Brian. Far left. She's very, very interested all of a sudden in something. I can just see something moving directly in front of them. It looks like it's a lion. So there's a lion directly in front of her, but that other lion is still stalking something. So just to the right of her in a very thick green bush, I can just pick up some movement in there, and that looks like one of the other lionesses. Where that young one, where those two are heading towards. Oh, I think that behavior tells me that whatever happened was unsuccessful, and whatever they were chasing has disappeared, and they're now sort of saying hello again, a bit of a greeting ceremony, but still quite a fascinating time spent here watching. It looks like they might start moving again. Astralina and Sherry. Astralina and Sherry seems to be a definite main hunter. Not always. Sometimes, specifically with difficult animals like buffalo, yes, there is a lioness that'll take the lead. I think in this circumstance, most of the time, it's whoever sees the animal first will often take the lead in the hunt. So I'm not sure what they saw yet. I think it was Inyala, but maybe not, because we didn't hear any Inyala barking. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Junior's behind us, 7. So one of the lionesses is still in the bush somewhere. Hi Marianne, welcome on the Sunrise Safari. And what a fantastic Sunrise Safari it's been so far. Marianne, I would like to know, what is the chance of the three that went into the bush pushing prey species onto the ones that are waiting? I mean, it can happen, but it's normally more by chance than by design. They are heading towards the Mulwati drainage line at the moment. Oh, look who's next to us. Finally decided to do a bit of catching up. Hello, Junior. I think my head looks better than his today. Okay, Junior, we want to jump up ahead of the ladies so you can keep following. Just hold on, we're going to try to scoot ahead. Some bumps coming, Brian. Looks like they might go flat for a little bit. Although this lioness off to the left does look like she might still be interested in looking for something. Yeah, the squirrels are still complaining. Hasn't been the most successful morning for the Nkahumas. But they are still looking quite active. Here comes Junior, finally caught up. So you can see some of that behavior Junior is displaying is one of the reasons he's about to get booted out of the pride by dads. He's already starting to attempt to mate with his mother's aunts and sisters. So there we go. So he's not actually penetrating them yet, but the fact that he's getting to a sexually mature age where he's going to start trying to mate with the females in his pride is one of the reasons that he'll be pushed off by the adult males. And obviously that's a natural thing to help curb inbreeding in lions. Nkuhumas are now lying up on Bateleur Road near the junction with the Mawati drainage. So it doesn't look like, it looks like they've done their marching for the morning and their attempted hunting. They might rest here for a while. I think they're probably going to rest here for the rest of the day. Hi, Lynn from Michigan. Lynn would like to know what would happen if the Nkuhumas and sticks bumped into each other at the moment, especially with the Matimbas being with the sticks at the moment. It would be a very interesting scenario, and it's very difficult to predict what would happen. The females would definitely try to fight each other. Whether the males would just get caught up and take the side of the pride that they're with at the moment, it would be very, very interesting to watch. And you can never actually guess. Sometimes they might fight with Nkuhumas, sometimes they might fight with the sticks, sometimes they might just ignore it completely. So until we actually are lucky enough to come across a situation like that, it's almost impossible to tell what's going to happen. But if it was just the Nkuhumas and just the sticks with no Matimbas around, the females would definitely fight, but I think the sticks would definitely try run as fast as they can. Obviously, there are more adults in this pride than in the sticks pride, and also the fact of, at the moment, Junior would be a really big way in, being much stronger, physically stronger than the females, and he could definitely cause some serious problems for the sticks. So hasn't it been, oh, ow, ow, ow. That's one of the problems with off-roading. Ow, that was on my seat. But hasn't it been a really, really fascinating morning? I mean, we found the tracks very early of the Nkuhumas crossing into Buffelshoek. And then I heard they'd been chasing buffalo quite deep into Buffelshoek. And then they did a big loop. And they came back along our eastern boundary and then headed west into our area. So really, really great to have them, and definitely be looking for them this afternoon. They are showing quite a lot of sign of activity and hunting, so they are hungry. So we can hope that our Nkuhuma unsuccess continues the Nkuhuma curse. Every time we follow them hunting, they don't seem to manage to catch anything. But hopefully that's going to change. I just think on pure law of averages, the amount of hours we've spent with them, we're going to have to be there when they catch something sooner rather than later. Morning, Kevin from Boston. Welcome on this sunrise safari filled with lions. Kevin would like to know why are lions' tails black and leopards' tails white. Kevin's referring to the tip. It's following mechanisms. Kevin, to be honest, they probably just developed like that. Whether it be black or white from a following mechanism point of view, either will stand out to a predator's eyes because of the way they work. So I'm not 100% sure. They just evolved the lions evolved to have a black tipped following mechanism, and leopards a white tipped following mechanism. And not only the tip of the tails, but behind the ears, also you have that black that helps the animals follow each other through the grass. Oh, up again. Is she going to go flop on one of the other pride members? Or yes, I think so. Or is she actually going to start moving again? That'd be really interesting if they did start moving again. More than likely going to flop on another member of the pride, or just a flop in general. Hi, Dave, who's contacting us via Twitter. Dave would like to know, can you generally age a lion by the color of its nose, specifically how pink it is? Dave, that is one way. Unfortunately, it is not the most accurate. I mean, I've seen lionesses that are well over 10 years old with a pink nose. Unfortunately, we don't really... Let me move a little bit, see if we can see some noses. Oh. So we're going to have a look here. We've got this, most definitely a nice big adult lioness, definitely over 4 years old. And if we have a look at her nose, very pink. So there we go, very much a pink nose on an adult. And then if we go off to the left, there's a lioness lying at the back, who to me looks about the same age, a little bit further, sorry, Brian, the one right at the back, that one there, about the same age, and most definitely mostly black nose. So it was thought to be a way to age lions, and in some lions their noses do get much darker as they get older, but in others it doesn't seem to happen. And if you look at one of the little sub-adult females, unfortunately, the one lying up by itself there. Have a look there. You can see a much pinker nose in the youngster. I'm just going to move again, see if we can. So that's the one young female. And I'm just going to move so we can see the other young female's nose, and we can actually compare the difference. So this is a really good example because they are both exactly the same age. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think I'm going to be able to push a bit more than that. So at the bum of the other one there. Oopsie. And you can see, even though it is pink, it is slightly darker. So that's in two animals that are exactly the same age. So I would say it's probably not the safest way to gauge a lion's age. Obviously, it's a bit easier with male lions to gauge age than it is with females. But isn't this wonderful? It's amazing that we are able to go this close, that we can actually even look at the intricacies of the color of the lion's noses. So I think they're going to probably lie up in this area, not move too much. They have covered a relatively large distance over the night, and even this morning, while we've been with them, they've probably covered about 1.5 kilometers. And there's Junior lying off to the side. Moro, Naomi in Gauteng. Naomi would like to know, would the junior still take preference at a kill being a male, or would the females put it in his place? Junior would take preference purely because he is bigger and stronger than the females. He would physically dominate the kill. So, unfortunately for the ladies, while Junior's around, he will dominate around the kill. They will fight with him and be more aggressive with him than they would be, say, with an adult male. But just purely on how much bigger and stronger he is than them, he would get the lion's share, so to speak, of the kill. So guys, there's a bit of a debate going on out there in the interwebs that we are not attached to about what happened while those lions were hunting. You could hear a young child, or actually two young children, on another one of the game drive vehicles, and they're wondering whether that actually disturbed the lions' hunts or chased over what they were hunting. I don't think so at all. As you can see there, the lions completely ignored the child. They didn't look towards the vehicle at all, and I don't think any of the prey species would have actually taken notice to it. And there's been a question now about children on safari. Personally, I grew up in safari vehicles, so I don't think it's a bad thing, and that was a landowner. And if you do have property out here, what an amazing experience to be able to take your children and grandchildren out on a safari. So I don't think it's a bad thing. The child policy in a lot of the lodges in Africa is not so much to do with them interfering and affecting game drives as such, but it's them interfering and affecting the other guests. Because a lot of people on holiday don't want to hear a screaming child, and especially not when you are spending quite a lot of money on an African safari. So generally in a lot of lodges that are child friendly or will accept children, you have rules like they have to take a private vehicle. And again, as soon as the child started crying like that, he moved out of the sighting. He was trying to move out of the sighting at the time to try not affect. And it's not to affect the animals, it's to affect the other guests that are staying and paying money to stay in the safari lodges. So those rules are more to do with looking after people than actually worrying about the animals. So I don't think it affected what was happening there at all. And what an amazing experience to be able to take your children or grandchildren on an African safari and get them to see these incredible animals firsthand. And there are ways to do it that both the children and the parents can have a break, and also to minimize the effect on other people on safari. So guys, I don't think these Nkahumas are going to move too much more. We're going to cross across to Scotty to see what he's been up to for a while. And I think we're going to leave them here for now and see if we can find anything else interesting in what's left of the Sunrise Safari. But I'll definitely be coming back here to follow up on the Sunset Safari on the Nkahuma Pride.
Welcome back, everyone, and look at how perfectly these three zebra have lined up for us. I'm quite jealous. It sounds like you've been having a wonderful sighting with the Nkahuma Pride, a little bit of excitement as they were on the hunt. And then some wonderful close-ups of them. And our luck with the big cats continue. Not so much with the spotted leopards, and have had no further sign of Sindile or any sign of his mother shadow, but along the way we are fortunate to bump into other animals just like this small dazzle of zebra. The bush is quite thick here, so there's not much we can do in terms of positioning the vehicle for you. But to be honest, I often quite enjoy viewing the animals when they are in thicker vegetation. Not all the time, but it does give you an idea of how their camouflage works. Even these, the zebra. It's a vehicle that's very kindly crept past us, that you may have heard. Well, let's continue. And I'm told that Brent appears to have a slow puncture and is rushing off to try and get to the workshop where he can either pump some air into it or possibly take it off to be repaired. And it is one of those things that will happen to us from time to time. As careful as we may be, trying not to drive over the sickle bush, which is one bush that's got very short but very strong spines that can puncture the tires. So that's what he's up to. The wind is beginning to pick up a little bit, and there's a few clouds building up around us, so possibly the sunset safari may be an overcast one. And here you can see Jean-André showing you a little bit of what's happening up in the sky. I really do love these winter days. And the reason why, or one of the big reasons why I love the winter days, is because we could possibly bump into lion or leopard or wild dog, who knows, any animal really. But a lot of the animals which will usually be bunkered down at this time of a summer drive could very still be active and on the move because it's nice and cool. So even though the sun is up and it's towards the end of the drive, we could be pleasantly surprised. Well done, Jean-André. And what I'm going to do is just let you enjoy a closer look at this Korhan, also known as a bustard, before it disappears. And then while we enjoy those views, I'm just going to get my book ready and show you some views of this black-bellied bustard. So can get confused from time to time. You get the red-crested Korhan and the black-bellied bustard. This was the black-bellied bustard. It looked like a male to me. It was difficult to see. Interestingly, as Jean-André zooms in, if some of you were with us on drive probably a week ago, I said we saw tracks of a Kori bustard. So another bustard that I've yet to show you here. But we did see tracks of one on Arethusa. We also do get the red-crested Korhan here, but below you'll see the male black-bellied bustard, and that's who we've just seen. And one bird that we did see a lot of during the summer months, they've got a very interesting call that sounds like a champagne cork popping out of the bottle. So that's something to look forward to in the summer months. But right now, it is not displaying and not calling. It will be a very, very common call in the summer, and it's really, really awesome to show you that call. It cocks its neck in a very strange position and then makes a funny popping noise. us. Oh, no. I've lost track of them, and it's not going to be easy to see them. But they were here, and they still are. They're just difficult for us to show you. Also, as the sun does become higher up, it makes it more difficult to detect tracks. The best light to find tracks in is early morning sunlight, as the sun casts a shadow on the side of the tracks. So let's carry on. But you'll just have to take my word for it that the tracks are here on Ballanite's Zoe's Junction. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take another road and not the initial one that I planned to. Now, in this area, it was interesting, I've been mentioning to Jean-Andre while we were off air, but this is kind of the buffer zone where Shadow has been seen, as well as Karula. And actually, the last time I saw any of them yet was Karula, and she was scent marking very heavily. So letting her daughter know that this is her patch of turf. It's not uncommon for young female leopards to push their mothers slightly out of their territory, and we could expect to see that happen. It kind of does make sense, because usually the younger females are stronger and more healthy than their mothers that may be coming older. Obviously, it depends on the age of their mother. But interesting how this area is a bit of an overlap in leopard territories between the females. Tingana will definitely be seen here, as well as Mvula, so also possibly we could see both dominant male leopards of this general area. But it's important to note that females will compete between females and males will compete between males, and depending on how successful a male is, he could have 3 or 4 or 5 females within his territory. Something that hasn't happened, that is long overdue, is for us to have a long-distance sighting or spotting of a leopard with a kill in the tree. Now, because the bush has become so dry and open, with all the leaves of the trees falling off, we can see probably 4 times as much as we could see in the summer, when everything is thick and green. And that means we can see into marula trees hundreds of meters off the road, and it's really easy to see the silhouettes of a leopard or even a carcass dangling from a branch in a tree that the leopard may have hoisted. And it is yet to happen this winter. James and VM did do a good job, though, not too long ago, when they were following tracks of Karula. Oh, sorry. We've got a pretty bird. Let me creep forward a bit. Please don't fly away. Please don't fly away. Wonderful. Such awesome colorations. And that crest of the crested barbet makes it one of my favorite birds. It almost has punk rocker status, you could say. Bright colors and audacious hairstyle. And after a quick toilet break, it's continued off, but at least we did get a glimpse of it. As I was saying though, James and VM were tracking Karula, and as he saw her tracks veer off the road, he stopped the vehicle and said, "I've lost the tracks." VM looked up to the left where the tracks headed off, and there she was, but she was only about 50 meters away, so not a long distance visual. But it's going to happen with one of us, either Brent or James, or possibly Jamie, who's going to be joining us in the next few days. It's really exciting, and we really look forward to having another presenter on the team, and not just another presenter, but a lady, to mix things up a bit. And she's going to bring a lot to the team, And she should be starting on the 13th, I believe. So any one of the four of us could potentially, with you on board, have one of these long-distance sightings. So be ready for that. Well, we've got an interesting update from Jody in New Mexico. Good to have you with us, Jody, and thanks so much for sending this update through. Jody says that they've been hearing ground hornbills, a large pretty bird which is on the cover of my book, so it'll be easy to show you. And these ground hornbills have been heard from the Djuma waterhole cam, calling in the morning. Their call rings out, doo-doo, doo, 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 doo. So that's kind of the noise you should listen for on the Djuma waterhole cam. And it's said that the female is saying, honey, come home. And the male replies, no, not yet. So that's kind of how it rings out. And we don't get to see them very often, so good to hear that they are possibly roosting in and around Djuma. You can hear their call from quite far, and the microphone on the Djuma waterhole camera is quite sensitive. So we're not sure how far away it could be. We haven't heard them in the mornings when we head out. So maybe we need to stop the vehicle a little bit more and listen more closely and try and track them down for you. But it's tricky to track a bird. But we will certainly keep an eye out for them, Jody, and if we ever get a report of them, we will always rush over to try and show you them. They're really great birds to see and also highly endangered. So one bird that we would make an extra effort to if we hear of them being anywhere. Anyway, from birds to a furry animal, Brent has found a beautiful antelope.
Welcome back, everyone. Just found this really big group of Inyala that have just stopped at the Gallagher waterhole for a drink. You can see all having a little drink before they move back off into the thickets and the drainage lines surrounding and to browse for the day. So, Scott did mention that we had a slight slow puncture, but all fixed, and we're back on the road and ready to roll. It's such beautiful antelope. There's a young male drinking as well. You can see those really nice, you see those very distinct.
And we were taking some advice from those of you who have been listening to the Djuma waterhole cam, and we just stopped and listened. We haven't heard anything yet, so we'll continue now. Such beautiful views from up here. It's quite an elevated part of the reserve. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to creep forward a few meters and let Jean-Andre take you on a tour of the vista. One of the vistas we do have out here. And it will give you a good sense of the expanse of this wonderful wilderness that we get to traverse. Enjoy. Jean, it will just be a moment or two getting the camera ready, and it's important to understand that for every cameraman who comes and joins on with SafariLive, regardless of how much experience they have elsewhere, very few of them will have the experience in filming live. And one of the difficulties is that you battle to know when to change certain settings to help create the best possible shot for any given scene. But look at how beautiful this is. And apologies to rush you away from those beautiful Inyala with Brent, but they are trying to remedy whatever the problem was that they had. It really is a wonderful thought that there are still some massive wilderness areas here on our planet where animals get to roam around and enjoy their lives just as they should, without humans causing chaos for them. And even though we are here, we have very little impact on their lives and try and be as sensitive as possible. So we fit it in neutrally into their home and are merely here as spectators. But it really does make me happy that some people many years ago had the foresight to create this massive national park that we are a part of, because it could very easily have not been, and this could all have been used for commercial farming. It's a good fruit farming area around us here. A lot of citrus and avocados are farmed nearby. Maggie in Kansas has asked an interesting question about the Inyala and why do the males have the white chevron between the eyes. And it's a good question because the females lack that white chevron, so it's possibly purely an aesthetic thing to help the males look more impressive than the females, which isn't uncommon in nature. A lot of the time the males are bigger and more impressive than the ladies, and that way they can try and entice more ladies into their lives. Some people may say, well, it would help to let in more light into their eyes by having that white ring there, but it wouldn't be fair that the males have this adaptation but the females don't, so that wouldn't make too much sense in this scenario for me. But it's a great way of being able to distinguish young Inyala, whether they are male or female, because before the horns will even start protruding, the males will have that little white chevron. I'm actually very close to where Brent is. He's just in front of us, a couple of 100 meters. Maybe we should track him down and film him for a while on the move. We haven't actually joined up in a sighting for quite some time, so for those of you who have joined the show more recently, you probably don't have an idea of what the vehicles actually look like, but don't worry, from time to time we will actually join in to the same sighting together, and then you'll get a better idea of how the vehicle looks and where the cameraman's situated and the camera. I have fond memories of Brent and I following a pack of wild dogs together, and we got some incredible shots. Sometimes he was in front of them, sometimes I was, but it was good fun being able to chop between two feeds in the same sighting. So that's something to look forward to, and something that we will do when the opportunity arises. Speaking of wild dog, there's a pack denning to the south of where we are, probably about, I'm guessing now, 5 miles away from us, possibly a little bit more. But they were on the hunt this morning and they came quite close to our southern boundary. So there is a small chance that they could come further south on, or further north onto Djuma. But certainly in the next few months, when they have raised those pups to about 3 months of age, they will then start running with the pack. Those pups from a young age will start moving with the pack, and the pack will then be able to move freely through the Sabi Sands and not have to return to the den site. So for now, there's a pack denning to the north of us and the Manyuleti, and one to the south, and we kind of in no man's land in between, but that will change. We've got some birds hopping around to our left, and they're such comical creatures, the hornbills. This is the red-billed hornbill. And let's take a look as it hunts for breakfast. Speaking of hunting, as we watch this hornbill catch little insects, Remay asked a question earlier regarding Inyala and whether an Inyala bull will try and protect a female if it's caught. I find it highly, highly unlikely, and I've never heard of Inyala returning to chase leopard or any other predators off young or females. Buffalo are one animal that will come back to protect injured members of a herd, or members of a herd that may have been caught. And warthog, interestingly enough, will also very ferociously defend their young. And, oh, this is a beautiful scene here up in the quarantine clearings. Interestingly, I never actually seen a warthog chasing leopard in the flesh. I've seen documentaries of it, but when I was in the Sabi Sands a couple of years ago, I was driving towards a camp where my guests were staying, and we saw a female leopard lying in the road, and we had to continue to the camp to get to the guests. And 100 meters after that we saw the leopard lying in the road, we saw a family of warthog, and they were feeding very peacefully in a similar kind of open clearing to where we are now. But I could see blood dripping off the one piglet. It had to have been that leopard that caught onto a young piglet, and the mother would have obviously charged in and chased the leopard away. The blood was literally still dripping, it hadn't coagulated. And I also saw some incredible footage, or pictures rather, the other day of trying to catch a warthog, and I think the warthog mother again came flying in to chase it away. So warthog is another animal that will chase animals off. I know some certain wildebeest will chase animal like leopard and cheetah. Zebra too will chase leopard and cheetah. But the Inyala I've never heard of. I guess a contributing reason for that, Remay, is that Inyala bulls will only compete for females when they are in season, and therefore will not become attached to them or their young. And will only hang around when there's opportunities to mate. Whereas warthog, zebra, buffalo, they all spend a long time with their young. And they also do have weapons that they can use to try and attack the leopard with those tusks. Well, this is great news. These hornbills haven't been successful in hunting, but Brent has found one that has. Enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone. Apologies for us disappearing, but you can see we've got a red-billed hornbill who has killed a monster locust. He's busy trying to figure out how to swallow it now. Nope, still too big. You can see the slight flashes of red, and that's the underwing of the locust. Basically chopping it up into edible, and mashing it up into an edible pile of mush rather than a hard exoskeleton on the locust. Hi, Edward. Well, we've got the hornbill here. Yeah, you've just been discussing hornbills with Scott. Edward would like to know, do all hornbill species build the same type of nest that is a sort of a hole in a tree that is mud closed? Most of them do, yes, Edward. Apart from your ground hornbill, which I'm sure Scott was telling about, they're just too big for that, so they just generally find a really big hollow in the tree. And he's really struggling with that locust at the moment. Whoop, he threw it up into the air. Still hasn't managed to get it into a bite size yet. See if we can inch a little bit closer. Here we go. Oh, oh, oh. So he's still trying to swallow that. But we've got a slightly different angle now. I see a very strange creature ahead of me there. It's looking a little bit disappointed. I think it's had a tough morning. So a bit like me yesterday when I couldn't find Sindile. I think Scott went looking for Sindile. And we managed to find the lions this time. I see a little smile on Scott through my binoculars. Hello, Scotty. And the hornbill is still struggling away with that locust. Oh, it looks like he might get it down. So if you saw a picture of me waving, that was the view from Scott's vehicle. We're still focused on the hornbill here. More successful at hunting than the lions this morning, even though really struggling to actually get it down. Oh, and next attempt. Oh, no. The legs seem to keep getting in the way. Oh, it looks like the starling might come in for a steal. I think that would be way too big for a starling. But what a fantastic sunrise safari it's been. We've been really, really lucky that we found the Inkahumas in that incredible morning light. And we beat off some gremlins. And fortunately, at the exact right time, as they started moving, we were able to stick with them. The excitement of the buffalo chase, even though we couldn't see very little of it, we could just hear this pandemonium going around us, and then being able to follow them after that, and then the sort of anticipation of the next hunt, which was also unsuccessful, unfortunately. But hopefully, our Nkahuma curse will be broken sometime shortly, and I think they're probably going to be looking to hunt again in the morning. So we're going to say goodbye and hand you over to Scotty for the last few minutes, but it's been great having you on the vehicle, and we hope to see you for the sunset safari in a few hours.
Welcome back, everyone. And who would have thought that just after speaking about having two vehicles in the same sighting, it would happen just minutes later. And well done to Brent for locating this kill. As small as it may be, it is a kill nonetheless. And a good opportunity for some of the new viewers just to get an idea of the vehicles and where the cameraman's situated. From myself, Scott, it's been another wonderful morning. Well done to Brent for finding the Nkahuma prides. I did hear him saying that I was an unsuccessful tracker this morning and didn't find any leopard that I was looking for, and he's right. And yesterday I did say that he was probably going to have his turn to chirp me, which he has already done so we are all square now. And big thanks to Jandre on camera and to Nikki, who directed the show, and Tara lending her hand. Take a closer look at the hornbill as it tries to finish off this locust, and it'll be a good way for you to end the safari. At the same time, you'll get an opportunity to see Brent and Brian. And we all look forward to the sunset safari a little bit later. We will see you all there.